Hey, well, we're here and we're in waiting mode. We're in Tagbilaran and we've come for Beth's checkup. So she's very private on things like this. So whereas I would just say, well, I have a cold or have a toothache, she won't allow that. I think that she thinks that she's Superwoman and that nobody would ever believe that she could feel off colour. Well, we come, and at the moment we're coming about every 2 months, and we drive to Tagbilaran. And for those who are very interested in the medical side of things, it's different here because, well, this is my take on it. There is a reason for why they don't have appointments. So yes, they have an appointment, but it still means that you have to get in line, which of course in the West, in fact in the West you make an appointment and it's for a certain time, 10 o'clock. You allow for the fact that if it's a dental appointment, it might take a little bit longer for the person who precedes you to actually be finished on time for your appointment at 10. So there's a little leeway there, but mostly you will be there at 10 a.m. or a little bit before, and you will keep your appointment. And because of this, there's a general agreement that people keep their appointments. And if people keep their appointments, then appointments can be made. The other side of that coin is that if people don't keep their appointments, then nobody makes appointments. No doctor or dentist or whatever the service is will not make an appointment knowing that people will be on what's called Filipino time. Filipino time means that for the appointment that you make at 10 a.m. you might manage to get there at a little after 10 or a lot after 10, which means that the person that you made the appointment to may be sitting there doing what when I was a kid we used to call twiddling our thumbs, and that's what happens. So when we set out for Tagbilaran, it's roughly 2 hours driving. There are those who say that they can do it in an hour or an hour and a half, but my Raptor does not have wings, and I don't feel like driving like a retired Wall of Death rider. So we leave about 6, or this morning we left a little later, but we left at 6:30. Now what happens is we get here, Beth goes and has her tests done in the laboratory. This is it, they have a laboratory, and the laboratory is there for all of the specialists in the hospital, and they'll have a couple or 3 floors, and it's full of specialists, everyone for ear, nose and throat, for I don't know, for chest, for stomach ache, for any kind of specialist that you can think of has an office on the floors, and you go and you find the specialist who is going to serve you. And what will happen on the first time you get there, and you sit and you wait until they can see you, and the specialist, the doctor, is operating on Filipino time too. So if you go in and you speak to the secretary, who will be there say at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, and she will tell you, no, the doctor is not here yet. And if, as a foreigner, damn you, if you say, well, what time does the doctor get here? Well, she will reply, she will reply with a completely straight face, well, he usually gets here about 11. Oh, so can I make an appointment to come back at 11? No sir, it's walk-in only, first come, first served. So there are people who have been there since early morning, and they will be first, and you will come at whatever time you can get here, and you'll take your turn. And that's the way that it works. So the way that Beth is already on a regular schedule, you'd think that she could make an appointment, but still no. We have a 2-hour drive. Now that's on a good day. Like this morning, when we were coming up here, there's a little in front of us, there's 2 tricycles, right, that like the tricycle taxis. One is trying to overtake the other, who is in front. We're all going very slowly, by the way. And the one that's being overtaken, right, is pulling off to the side. And the other one, the overtaker, is already on his way. Now, we're going very slowly now. I'm trying to maneuver around this man who has decided, like most taxi drivers, that he can stop anywhere and everybody else can get on with it. Well, coming up like a bat out of hell is a biker who doesn't want to try to overtake on the outside like most people who are driving correctly would do, and tries to overtake on the inside, which is totally acceptable here. But he hadn't accounted for the tricycle driver and whacked him right up the back. Now the problem with this is that tricycles are made in a certain way that 2 or 2.5, if there's a child, can sit backwards, in other words facing traffic that is following. Now it doesn't take anybody of great intelligence to realize that if that tricycle taxi gets whacked up the back, there can be broken legs or worse. Well, we didn't stop to find out because plenty of people were there handling it, and it seemed like the biker, after he had overtaken us on the inside and whacked into this tricycle, there was one person sitting in that tricycle facing backwards. We don't know what happened. Now, here's where I have to confess that I am wary of being a foreigner in the Philippines. And that is because of some of the horror stories that I've heard about whoever is at fault. The foreigner always is the one who pays. Now, we had this a little while ago when a back tire on the passenger side suddenly exploded through the back and went down very, very quickly. Someone was there on the inside and fell off their bike. Now, what happened then was, I look at it, the bike is on the ground. I now lift up the bike and put it on the stand. And what does it look like? It looks like it's 100 years old. It looks like it has no registration, no insurance, there's no number plate on the back, and the man and his wife, mother and father of the young teenage girl don't look like they're living lifestyles of the rich and famous. So it then comes to me, it falls to my duty to get them down to the nearest health centre where they have a look at them, make sure that they are okay. I pay for that bill and I give them some money because one of the girl, who was about 14 years old, has a tear in her jeans. May have been there before, I don't know, but we negotiate so that everybody is happy. Now, for me, it was such a worry to actually look in my offside mirror and see this family actually tumble. Now, another young man who is passing at the time stopped, somebody in his 20s, and he said he spoke to them, and I didn't know whether it was my fault or not. I didn't see how it could be, but then he pointed out something that I hadn't seen yet, and that was that I had a blown tyre in the back on their side. So when he spoke to the couple, they all said no, it was not his fault. So we arrange, and the young man, it turns out, says take them down, not to the hospital, take them down to the health centre, which is a different setup, right? Take them down, and that's for doing all local kinds of things like this. And we went down there, I got a tricycle, went down there, it was a very short way, and they rode their bike down to the health centre, and everything was all done. Now, was it done by me? No. Turned out that the young man who had stopped knew who I was, that Beth and I do the work that we do, and he was a subscriber, and he helped. He said, no, there's nothing to worry about, and they're okay. A little bit shaken up, as I was, so I was very happy to be able to help, which is what I did. Now, did I do it on my own? As I said, no, I didn't. Beth was not there, and she called one of our students, Brat, and Brat lived fairly close, and she said, can you go and help Daddy Terence because of what's happened? And Brat came along and was able to be the interpreter for everything, and the whole thing was all wrapped up to everybody's satisfaction. So that's the kind of thing that can happen. And today, when we saw that little accident happened on the inside, while I'm looking in my mirror, the man who had come off the bike is back standing up. You can see his crash helmet, and it looks like things are being handled. So we drove on, because who knows, this is not Taliban, where I am known and will be treated fairly like that family. They could have said that it was my fault and I was shaken up, and I would have believed them, and whatever it cost would have come to me. So there's a situation where there's a good side and what could have been the bad side. Nobody was hurt, as I could see, and we were not involved other than we had been overtaken on the inside. So we continued on our way, in which case we would get there to our first come first served appointment today, and that's why we're here and waiting now. Beth has had her tests done at the laboratory, and now when it's after lunch, we know that the specialist who will see her is going to be there 1 o'clock. So we're counting the hours, the minutes. We're in the shade. Beth is already asleep, and we'll be moving on our way fairly soon to go back for 1 o'clock. Beth is number 7 in line. Once she has been seen, we'll be on our way home. So thanks for looking in. If this kind of thing is what interests you and you think it might help somebody else, it would certainly help us if you like, comment and subscribe. If you have any questions about this, I'd be more than helpful in answering them. So bye for now. Don't forget you can share. Sharing would be very important for us at the moment, as we are not finding that our new videos are being notified to the subscribers who have asked for that notification to happen. So sharing is good for us, it helps. And bye for now.